Challenger Series, we are now moments away from Final 5 and TDK's match for tonight. And now, Final 5 actually features Impaler and Sheep, formerly of Team Coast. Here's what happened last night as these teams squared off.
And when you look at these compositions, you look and you're like, Final 5. All right, Rux, once again on Rumble, looks like a really good comp for him. Gate on a split pusher, on something that can assassinate. And Veritas, once again, on that Grave, something that helps him win lane. And with Sheep, that looks like a really powerful lane on paper. Yeah,
and actually those two ended up doing okay during the game, but on the other side, though, we have TDK, and of course, yes, they're still pulling all these J spans, but what's cool to see is Seraph is still on an individual playmaking, carry top laner. Kez taking a page from realizing how good Sejuani is in 5.5. He's playing Sej, a follow-up engage mid laner, and the typical engage bot lane, Leona Sivir, there to, yep, we're going to go team fight things, and Seraph, go do your thing in the top lane.
Yeah, and with Kyle on the Kennen, even more for the team fight things.
Right.
But we're going to see how that game actually played out.
Starts off, you know, we're talking about Sejuani not being able to duel, but Kez happy to fight people right now, but both mid laners have their ultimates, which makes it a pretty explosive battle.
Yeah, she's got some skirmish power. Both junglers not level 6 yet, though, and both mid laners actually pick up the first kills of the game.
Trade back and forth, but Seraph, level 12, absolutely destroying people, lands the stun. A lot of damage here onto Rux. Doesn't actually dodge himself forward, though, so he could have maybe gotten extra attack on Rux, but here he's like, okay, I can flash E, and down you go.
Yep, the Trinity Force power spike onto Seraph on that Aurelia really knows how to duel on these characters. He starts backing, cancels it, starts his TP, and gets out right as Impaler unburrows.
Yeah, that quarter-second decision-making to keep himself alive. This is actually really cute. So, stuns Gate, spams some Qs, okay, dodge away. Keep dodging away. I'm by the ghost. Crap. Okay, dodge away again. All right, now into the brush. I need to stun you. Hut! Heal with 2 attacks. Q for more health.
And Gate gives up there because he had used his W.
Yeah, but Veritas gets him anyway.
Yep, the swag
so much effort.
And look at this. Kez tries to start the engage, misses. Kyle zones them off, and everybody's out of this fight, and they ditch Impaler. Rux shows up late when Impaler is already dead, throws down the ultimate. It's a good equalizer, and Kyle is forced off to the left. But right here, Gate ultiing onto Smoothie, the support with only 200 HP, and blowing his own flash was what made this fight go in TDK's favor. You can see TDK's actually down before this fight starts. And this is what got them into the game. Now, Kez, this was a huge fight for them to help them start closing out the game. 5-man Sejuani ultimate there. Veritas is the only person who immediately QSS and runs out of the fight, but Seraph just chases him out even further and makes it so he has nothing to say there.
Swaggle, and here we go. Final 5 looking for a Baron attempt. Maybe they can bring themselves back into the game. Kez goes in for the Baron steal, and TDK gets it. This equalizer doesn't hit basically anything, and it's a pretty easy to fight to mop up now. TDK starting out with a couple of kills, and it's just clean up now for Seraph.
And Kyle flashes into the pit to get the Slicing Maelstrom on that backline that was still trying to do the Baron. Really, really good play there. And then Rux, like you said, his equalizer was basically for Scuttle Crab damage at that point.
And that's going to be a 46-minute Nexus TDK in a very closely fought game. Final 5 did start out well early. The Veritas Sheep lane did pretty okay. 5-3 and 4 on the AD carry. Kyle doesn't get his Jace, but his Kennen sure as hell pretty impressive.
Yeah, and the way that he was helping the follow-up in those fights off of Kez's ultimates is what that Wombo combo was all about. And Rux was not able to deal the damage because Seraph was just so far ahead, keeping him down in that top lane.
Do you want to talk about, though, the 2 new guys to Final 5, of course, Impaler and Sheep. Impaler, plenty of gold on him, 2, 3, and 7, not a bad scoreline, so 3 KDA. Sheep, not bad either. He and Veritas so far have looked okay on Final 5's side. I can't really hate on them, but 4 and 3, you know, they're in this big tie for, I guess, 3rd place now with the win from Fusion. You know, getting up and down to those standings is going to be a big deal.
Yeah, and the fact that this is a new bottom lane, they do have to work on that synergy, and we saw when Sheep was in the LCS, he's a very YOLO player, to use Lustboy's words. He likes to go in, he likes to make these plays. Veritas is kind of like that too. So over time, I see this being a very good bottom lane for them to just take over the game and execute on what Veritas' play style is.
Yeah, and especially with you when you consider other players in this game, like Impaler, who wants to play aggressively. He's got actually a very dominant mid laner here in Kyle. No, sorry, in Gate. I was getting my team wrong for some reason. But yeah, like, Gate also tends to be a playmaker, right? Known for like things like Twisted Fate, getting around the map, making aggressive plays. Impaler wants to do that too. And so watching the two junglers in this game, Impaler, who wants to be hyper-aggressive, Kez, who's much more calculated, right? You saw him play a tank jungler here in this game before it was cool. Right, the hipster Sejuani player right now in 5.4 oftentimes plays a sight stone. That type of style tends to work very well with his team.
Yeah, and getting the smite on the Baron at the very end, the comeback sneaky Baron would have been really good there, but it was just capitalized immediately. Sejuani ultimate, jump in, get the smite, then the follow-up from Kennen. So these guys really need to set their teams up because they have a lot of carries on either side, and they might have to take a little bit of a back seat. Because I know that's what Kez likes to do, but Impaler, he's been used to being a carry now in the LCS for a little bit, trying to like pull his weight.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to do so much here. He just has to facilitate early game. And I think he's the shot caller of this team now.
I would expect him to be so. We'll have to talk to them and find out if they can pull up a win here. But overall, we'll see what happens. Now, talk about the rest of this team. TDK have traditionally performed very well playing poke comps, but they're not always getting Nidalee. They're definitely not getting Jace anymore. And so they're having to find a new style. So far, actually, it has worked. They took down Final 5. Seraph keeps playing individual champions. He's playing Aurelia. They're now playing team fight comps instead. That's worked. Overall, TDK rolling with the punches very cleanly.
Yeah, when we saw them playing the Nidalee jungle and the Jace mid and then like the Mundo top, just a really, really good standard poke comp for them.
Yeah.
They were doing amazing, and people were like, okay, let's just ban out the Nidalee, ban out the Jace, and they got nothing left. And it's like, no. We have this Wombo combo team comp that Kez can actually perform on as well. So Kez is actually stepping up as a very well-rounded jungler right now, which is a little surprising considering the way that we've seen him before was just only control, only no aggression, sit back, let the game happen, and just kind of react to stuff. Now he seems to be a little more on top of the ball and on top of the flow of the game and trying to dictate more of it.
All right, well, right off the bat, TDK trying to remove some of the teamfight options from Final 5. The same thing happening, though. Final 5, of course, removing the Jace, but they're now killing the Kennen and Lissandra that have shown to be so effective by TDK. Entirely solo lane bans here from Final 5, so Kez gets literally any champion that he wants, and Luigi G and Smoothie nearly get the same thing for themselves. They're the only ones banning bottom lane champions.
I'm trying to think. You could take the early Aurelia for Seraph so he can keep performing plays on it. I know Rux plays Aurelia as well.
Yeah.
But
thing is, I don't feel like Rux would
your top laner
necessarily go for that unless I think there's really this heavy emphasis on winning that solo top lane match. I could see it, to be fair. It could really be something that these teams focus on very heavily. It's weird because
I mean, Nidalee is up too.
Yeah.
Right? Like you could go for the first pick Nidalee.
No.
Nope. They go for the Annie for Smoothie. Now this is a champion that Smoothie got his hands on only the first week when they started running, and that was actually a loss for them, where he just kept going in, and he actually was a big part of why they lost that game, was he's just taking advantage of in the bottom lane. And Luigi G and Smoothie is one of the weaker bottom lanes here in Challenger, whereas they're up against Veritas and Sheep, which seem to be coming up and up and are proven players.
True.
They still have something to prove here on TDK's side.
We'll see if TDK can make a point by 2-0ing here against Final 5. They certainly have 1-0 so far, and if they win, they're back in a tie for second place in the standings in the regular season. We'll see if that can go well for TDK. Final 5 to make their first choices. You don't know much about this one, and it's so hard for me to kind of think about their champ select here because they play just such different styles, these two teams. I can't really say what's going to be important, but Impaler jumping all the way to Lee Sin, any jungler he wants to get a win, says Lee Sin's the champion to do it. Veritas once again on Graves.
It's a champion that he had a lot of success in Challenger on previously when he was climbing up in NA when he first got over here. That's what he was grinding over and over again because he wanted to be the playmaker for his team. And it looks like he's falling into more of that on Final 5.
Well, TDK, though, gets to keep doing more of the same. Hey, you wanted team fights last game? Here's Sejuani again. Here's Annie. Maybe Kennen's gone, but I'm sure there's something else going to work there. I actually wouldn't be surprised if it was solo lane Annie after all to fit with his team composition. You still got things like Leona to follow up, Karma for a speed buff if you really want. The Lucian's odd to me, but still going to be, I think, an okay matchup.
Luigi G just wants to have a champion that he's comfortable on. He's played almost a different champion every game. He's done Draven, Graves, Caitlyn, Varus, Corki, Sivir.
And he had one repeat Graves game.
That's it.
So
this will be his
7 champions in 8 games. for Luigi. You know, play whatever he feels like, apparently, in this one.
I mean,
sure.
He's up against the Graves, right? It is actually a good matchup. Right? It's the matchup that Forgiven talks about, where it's like you pick Graves into most things, and if somebody picks Graves, you pick Lucian. Right?
Okay. Well, hopefully it works out well here for Luigi. Leon actually gets picked up by Final 5. And Rux is going to get himself a Maokai, so a more defensive, fairly durable team comp for Final 5. Maybe they can withstand the hard engage here from TDK if there's not enough damage follow-up. Actually, that Victor makes a lot of sense. Yep, there we go. If it's not going to be mid lane and it's going to be mid lane Victor, just find another good mid-range team fighter that has follow-up. And follow-up CC nonetheless. Seraph gets himself a top lane Aurelia. Still going to be fine. I think it's pretty good against Maokai as well. Can't hit on TDK's comp at all. Yeah,
there's a lot of ways to just continually chain stun a team. Annie ulti, Sej ulti, throw in the Victor, and it's a really, really good way to just win a team fight flat out. CC wins team fights. Even if you layer it sometimes, as long as it's multi-person. And then they have Seraph, once again, on Aurelia. He had a great showing on that. And I'm a big fan of Seraph playing carries. His Lissandra draws bans. His other champions as well usually draw bans, but he's very comfortable on this Aurelia, and they're just handing it to him.
Yeah, absolutely are. So, good luck, Rux. You had to expect this matchup coming in. Maokai, the champion, he wants to play into it. And this is the tricky thing about playing a team-fighting top laner versus a split-pushing top laner, and why I like split-pushing top laners with team-fight comps, is you pull the other top laner away. You make them respect the Aurelia, deal with the Aurelia knocking down the turrets, and when you play an engage comp like TDK, they can wait on their engage. If Maokai leaves, hold up. Wait for Aurelia to knock down a turret. Engage when Maokai is gone. Go do those fun things. Gate trying to hold the team together. Goes for Orianna. Another good defensive champion if you want to play kind of more of a tanky meat wall. Put the shields up. Shockwave can disengage as well. But, yep, there's actually ways to force the fight. If they do pull Rux in, can they dive in there? Can they start the fight out with like a Flash Maokai or a Solar Flare? There's a chance.
Yeah, and here's the thing, too, that I love about Sejuani is she's not like Jarvan, where you start the engage, you put yourself at risk. You throw out the ultimate, and you're like, it hit multiple people. It could even just be a fake ultimate to get a TP.
Sure.
You can throw it out, stun 4 people under a turret, and then it's like, oh god, you look like you're going to go forward, TP, you're just like, all right, let's back up and wait for it because the cooldown difference. Exactly.
Yeah, well, that's going to be fun. We'll see if that's going to work out well for both these teams, but we're going to find out if adding Sheep and Impaler was enough for a Final 5 victory today. Let us know what you guys think this matchup's going to be. Tweet hashtag TDKWin or hashtag F5Win to @LOL Esports. We're going to check the votes in just a few minutes. Both these teams right now tied at 4 and 3. You're looking at very scary teams like Fusion and Enemy Esports in the top half of the table. Getting up there around 2nd and 3rd seed, going to be a lot better than being 4th seed, I think, if these guys are going to try to make their playoff roads go farther than the first round.
Yeah, nobody really wants to go up against Enemy in the first round.
No.
They look like a very dominant team, but at the same time, Fusion is looking stronger and stronger.
Yeah.
Right? They look like they're on the upswing and that they're actually catching like a lot of synergy very recently.
And we'll have to see now as the playoff picture shapes up and as this game shapes up. Now, to note, if TDK wins this game here, CLG Black are out of the playoffs for sure, and we will know what our 4 teams will be. So
we just don't know the order.
We just don't know the order, absolutely, but that's the question, though. CLG Black fans, root for Final 5. Otherwise, you're not going to see your team in the top 4, and they're just going to play for the 5th, 6th seeding, which will determine how their qualifier goes, but that's not for this time right here. We'll see how the regular season shapes up as we get our lane assignments. So far, completely standard battle lines.
Oh man, if they win, that means CLG and TSM are bottom of Challenger and top of LCS at the same time.
True.
1 and 2 spots for both, 5 and 6 on the other side.
Why not? Well, might be a rough road, but we'll see if those teams can shape up maybe for the summer split. See what happens right now as the teams retreat back into their own jungle, and because of the battle lines, there are no deep wards for either team. They could very easily swap their lanes back, choose to go for a blind pick lane swap. But that will not be the case. Looks like Veritas and Sheep want to tank the Gromp. Luigi and Smoothie will go top lane after all. And they can actually, they'll be there in time to set up a freeze. Final 5 will definitely not because they're doing Gromp here.
And that's the beauty of battle lines, is nobody gets those deep wards. You don't get to see where the lane swap is, but you also just get to make the blind decision of, all right, are we going to do it? Let's just try it, right? And then it's a blind call.
Oh, this is cute. So Rux is actually giving Gate an early start. Check that. It's going to blow up too, auto Q, and now Gate gets the mid lane lead. Rux is going to do his double jungle thing anyway, noticing there's guys in the top lane. And now Gate's going to get level 2 off the first wave and gets to go harass a short-range mid laner in Kyle. This could be a very good matchup for Gate.
That's the thing with Victor, too, is, like you said, very short range. Takes him a while to actually get off the ground. There's the level 2, and Kyle's going, what?
He's like, what did you steal?
That was off the first wave,
That was off the melees of the first wave.
He, like, kills one caster, and it's like...
Doesn't even need the caster. It's really just 3 melees.
I actually think it should be a little further up.
Well, the question is, yeah, it's not like Sejuani's a great ganker, right?
Yeah, and Sejuani needs level 3 to gank.
It's true, yeah, you start with W. Yeah. It's not like QW didn't do anything. Yeah, WE's like not going to reach anything. So Seraph will TP into this lane. Level 1.7 here. But he started with Equilibrium Strike, so he can't even Blade Surge for better CS. It's going to be pretty rough road. Seraph just getting XP. Gate now starting to harass level 3 for himself. And trying to push in Kyle. Still not afraid of Sejuani whatsoever. Impaler pretty easily able to clear his own jungle. No surprise here. Veritas and Sheep. This actually can build into a freeze, by the way, because the wave met very close to TDK's turret. Their reinforcements come in first, so I want to see what Final 5 does with that bottom lane now. I would actually freeze and make Irelia not get gold. I think it's very hard to push against Annie Irelia. The threat of a follow-up gank from Sejuani off a double CC lane, I think, is really pretty scary.
I don't know what Impaler's doing. He's just getting some deeper wards.
He's protecting the dual lane. He's trying to set up some kind of a dive, I think.
No, he's just looking to get some wards and then back up and get his jungle item and continue his route. Really hard to gank an Irelia. Like, this is a...
This is like this will freeze.
You don't want to dive these guys down bottom, right? Like, this is just... They got to get some CS.
Yeah.
They'll freeze a little bit.
Yeah.
Smoothie will try to clean up whatever he can. And Seraph hopefully gets a lot of that CS.
Well, Seraph at 13 is actually doing better than Rux right now with 11. And Maokai, I think, generally pretty good in one-on-one lanes. So I would expect Rux to do pretty okay here, but we have to see how the matchups actually play out. The wave is pretty much going to stay exactly equal. Both have 3 casters and a melee. And you can see Rux actually kind of forcing LuiGG around a bit. Kyle taking more damage from Gate on top of this one, so
I don't know. I love the fact that they set up Gate for success at the start and just even gave him those little bit of those raptors, right? Because now he's beating the mid lane. He's 8 CS up at the moment, and he's got an experience advantage. He's hitting these levels early. Gate is a large part of this team's damage, right? Maokai, Lee Sin, Leona. Your damage sources are really just the Orianna and the Graves. Those are your 2 main damage sources. And outside of that, there really isn't much. Impaler's going to get tanky after a tiny bit, but I really like that they're trying to get Gate ahead in this matchup. Because TDK have a ton of damage sources here.
It's true, actually. The Orianna being big, definitely got an exploding, fairly squishy members. Irelia being stuck in a lane swap should be pretty low farm. Gate now really bringing it to Kyle down here. Kyle's traditionally been a very, very strong mid laner, but the level lead really helping Gate out. Impaler wants to go for some kind of a dive.
Well,
it's Cleanse Flash versus Ignite.
Well, so they're calling for Sejuani on the other side. He's been behind for a while now, so Kez can actually just come out of this brush, and something's going to happen right now.
There we go. Ignite is on. Kyle does not cleanse it, meaning the damage comes out. There's the flash and cleanse. The Q hits! Impaler gets first blood. He's going to be safe as well. Smites for health. And gets out just barely. Gate walks away with his life. Both summoners down. Kez on the chase. And oh, here comes the Lucian. Hops away. Kez gets a
speed.
Ooh, and the distortion's going to stop LuiGG. So first blood and a clean escape from Final 5.
Very nice play there from Impaler, showing why he wants to be back on that Lee Sin. He wants to make plays.
A lot of damage on the Seraph as well, but a counter stun by Smoothie. And everyone just trying to go for making plays.
Yeah, Impaler using the smite there, also stopping the creep. Doesn't give him life back if it's not used on a jungle creep, though.
Are you sure? I'm almost certain as long as you smite something, you get healed.
Pretty sure it's on jungle creeps.
I want to challenge you on that one. I don't know if I'm right. You are healed. It just says you're just healed as like an extra second. I'm almost certain.
If you read the actual tooltip when you mouse over the Trailblazer.
Casting Smite on a monster, you're right, okay. Huh, I've been smiting waves all this time to get health back, and I always felt like, all right, well, you know what? I guess I'm wrong.
It's 15% of your missing, so you'd like see it shoot up if it was like...
Yeah, you're right, okay. Well,
but he used it to like stun it, like panic, whatever it might be, but you're going to see this play once again. Impaler just making a really nice play here over the wall. Gate just barely gets out, too. He runs himself out of mana here, and he's basically using Clockwork Windup, but Impaler with the immediate jump in. Boom!
Yep. Ward hop, flash E, and then lands the Q on the fadeaway. And Gate had to flash away, but hey, worth it.
Yep.
Now the Dragon attempt from Final 5, their dual lane was bot the whole time. They actually managed to knock down the bottom outer turret during that skirmish as well. And it was very clean. Now in the mid lane, by the way, an attempt for Gate, but Smoothie's here to turn it around. Kyle lives, and Kez is already here to turn Rux kind of to shame. TDK get the first kill on the board finally, but they lose first Dragon and first turret.
And there's nobody to go and answer for Seraph in the top lane right now because of that TP. TP advantage goes over to TDK for the next play. And just the amount of resources they've funneled into taking Gate out was really big. They knew his flash was down, he was still being aggressive in lane, and it was easy to take advantage of that.
And so far so good. Seraph just gonna free from the top lane. He didn't bother to teleport in, didn't need to anyway. He saw Impaler get afraid of counter jungling. Pretty good reason. People were around, could have stopped him. And the red buff in the south jungle will go over to TDK after all.
Louis GG.
Just in farm duty.
Louis GG is actually doing well in farm. He is up over Veritas for a small time because he had a free lane for himself for a little bit. Veritas will catch that up in just a second here. But the fact that he's even with him, and he's pretty much been on the lower side of CS at 10 for this season. Whereas Veritas is near the higher end of players on that.
Well, Veritas is just going to sit in the lane, though, and get his farm up. We'll see who does better in the mid-game, then, between this Graves and this Lucian.
This is Veritas' third support that he's played with in Challenger. He went from Rule 18 to Kongquan to Sheep now. He's had to constantly deal with different play styles, right? He went from Rule 18, who's generally pretty passive, likes to play Janna, likes to play these types of champions that are going to help and supplement the damage of the carry. Now he's with Sheep.
Yeah.
Who just likes to go in.
Well, you know, I think he's at home, though. Because Veritas spent a while in Australia, which is right by New Zealand, which is known for their sheep. So, you know, I can't imagine it's difficult at all for him. Bit of a stretch? No.
Bit of a you answered your own question?
Of course it wasn't too much of a stretch.
Bit of a stretch? Nah.
I'm just asking the questions everyone else is asking, and they give them the answer everyone else knows. Am I funnier than Aiden?
Helping the people out. I gotcha.
Yeah. No, I'm... You know how everyone has like a voice in their head? I'm the voice in everyone's head. I'm everyone's internal monologue. Are you understanding me now? Do you get it?
We're all a little schizophrenic from Freak. You know,
sure.
I don't not see that.
Seraph's knocked around. A red buff is here, trying to jump away. Good stun by Seraph. Keeps Impaler at bay. I can't imagine this dive is going to work, but yeah, just getting some damage down. Rux backs out.
It's the beauty of the Aurelia passive. Gets him that extra tenacity to get out of the Twisted Advance just a little earlier.
Kez, though, seeing that the enemy jungler's topside goes for a blue buff steal. He knows Lee Sin's not around. In fact, he's got Victor with lane pressure to help as well. Great heads-up play by Kez, but actually the W takes the blue anyway. Kyle doesn't manage to kill it with the second FMV.
Look at that, the top lane turret from Final 5 picked up.
I'm glad to see them do that, by the way. I think too rarely do junglers say, we forced him out of lane, let's kill the turret.
Yep.
I'm really glad this happened for Final 5. They actually go into the jungle, they can take Gromp away, they can take Wolves away, they can ward up the jungle while they're there, all with impunity because they saw Seraph's out, and we saw Kyle and Kez on the right-hand side of the map.
And you have to keep applying pressure, though, once you do that. You have to keep it up.
True.
Because you don't want the Victor to keep hitting mid-late game spikes. You don't want the Aurelia to have a free farm lane.
That's what's going to be so tricky is if Kyle keeps up pressure in mid, and it looks like with the augmented E now, he has a chance of keeping that wave cleared. How do you even get back to Aurelia's lane without being spotted very obviously?
He hasn't been seen. Kez is trying to come in here for a sneaky gank.
Oh, it's going to be dangerous. Veritas, there's a charge on in, gets the stun all the same. Has to flash, has to heal. I don't know if he had to, but he did, and Veritas gets out with losing summoners.
That's actually very interesting to me because Kez doesn't blow his own flash. Instead, he Q and ultimates at the same time. So he's just trying to close the distance and the travel time of the R instead of Q flashing to get the knock-up and then waiting for the flash and then R'ing afterwards.
Yeah.
So he didn't want to blow his flash. It's just so he can save that for a different gank, for a different moment, and he gets a lot of summoners in response.
Yeah, so another question is what can he do with this momentary cooldown of his ultimate? He got the Kindle Gem for the CDR. They got the Sightstone for the ward control. Of course, both these junglers carrying that item right now. Juggernaut just now done for Kez. He's going to have that tenacity, that extra health. And we'll see what these guys can do now with their completed jungle enchantments. Game still fairly close, 1,400 apart here. Impaler, wow, lands the Q, but no way you follow that one up.
Take it. Every Q, every Q. You just gotta take every Q.
Don't you dare.
You take the Q, and then you just W to the minion that's right there just to fake him out.
Just to waste 80 energy.
Yeah.
And put all your stuff on cooldown.
And then the jungler comes out from the bush, and you're like, ah!
Then you have to ult him away, and then you're fine.
Yeah.
Rux and Seraph trading. Rux actually feels pretty good about this matchup, actually. That ult is a good chunk, and Seraph goes for the counter engage, though. Good bit of damage down. Can Q to a minion. Doesn't really choose to.
Waiting on their cooldowns here. Rux is actually in a better position, by far, at this point. With the Catalyst.
What are you forgiven?
He just gets... No. He can just get some HP regen off of gaining a level.
Yeah. And an early Frozen Heart looks like it's going to be in the mix as well, so really hurting Seraph's attack speed. Going to be a nice thing. Kez, 20 seconds before Dragon Spawn, starting to clear out some of the aggressive wards of Final 5. Puts one down, but Sheep clears it back. Now, who can really get the ward control up? Neither team now holds many good aggressive wards for Dragon. Kyle's having a much better time with the wave clear thanks to the blue buff steal they got away from Gate.
So these fights that are going to happen around Dragon are all about the team's positioning coming into them because both teams capitalize off of poor positioning and grouped up members. You want to approach from multiple angles, but still be ready to form a unit. Because you don't want to be grouped up for Sejuani, you don't want to be grouped up for Victor and Annie, you don't want to be grouped up on the opposite side for Orianna and Leona.
And we're seeing that there's not even a contest here from TDK. They don't want this team fight. They couldn't get the vision, and they wanted to leave Seraph on the top lane to get some farm. Now, of course, with the top lane being pushed so hard, it allowed Rux to run across the map and then run back with only losing maybe a wave. Orianna coming over maybe as insurance. Leona certainly is.
They don't have vision of this.
Yeah.
And they see Kez. Kez, oh.
Good soccer ball.
They don't see Leona there yet.
Back. All right, here comes Leona and Impaler's there. Rux just started out the fight. Can they gain much more? Ulti comes in, but they still manage to start the fight anyway. Seraph, a flash comes in to chase him down from Sheep. They're going to land a bit of CC, and Impaler will, in fact, give Sheep the kill with Ignite. They finally take that one down, but wow.
Oh.
Gate gets away just in time away from Smoothie.
That ultimate coming down, he had to cast some spells to get his stun up and then cast the ultimate because he didn't have the stun prepped at the start of that. Like you can see right now, Smoothie actually has the stun.
Yeah,
prepped.
Timbers wouldn't even have stunned.
Yeah.
Like Gate could have like straight walked out of that one, but he didn't know that. Give Sheep the kill. Yeah. So Sheep, cash money in tow. Moby Boots and a Sightstone trying to make the cross-map plays. Did get a kill for himself. So far, so good for the new Final 5 player. Kyle just taking so much poke. Shockwave goes in. Can they get the engage? I doubt it.
Gate didn't have any mana after that. It's just the chunk down at that point. Kyle still has potions, though, and still has a mana bar. Gate's just going to have to regen a little bit. He went for the Athenes, so being low is not that bad because then as long as nothing's going on, he's going to regen it very quickly.
All right, so back to the square off. Luigi G and Veritas dueling off. A lot of attack damage for both these guys. I actually like the build we've been seeing. It's BF Pickaxe into Zerk Greaves. Because IH is only 20 crit now, you actually delay the item a bit more, and you'd rather have the move speed and attack speed of Zerk Greaves, which is arguably more bang for your buck, with more stats per gold there, and I actually really like the build. You delay IH, but it doesn't really matter.
Right now, Rux is just shoving top, going somewhere. Shoving top, going somewhere, right? And you talked about team fight top laners versus split push top laners. He's not having to answer Seraph because he can actually deal with him a little bit in a one-on-one situation and then walk away. Go to a different lane. Veritas up in CS. Gate up in CS. All across the board right now, Final 5 are in really good shape.
And they're going to be in really good shape for another maybe 2 minutes, but Seraph is quickly closing in on that Trinity Force power spike. A bit delayed due to the lane swap. 16, 17 minutes, a bit late for a solo lane Triforce, but he will get there pretty soon. And that's when the matchup, I think, starts to get a little bit easier for Seraph. When you actually start pushing away Rux, not allowing him to wave clear so cleanly. And Final 5 will find their time at running around the map much more limited. But up until Seraph recalls, that won't be the case just yet. But you can see he's recalling on the map. And Trinity Force, dodge.
Cleanse.
Good cleanse. All right, Kyle's safe. Still wave clearing best he can. Start to go for a bit of CDR himself. Actually, is going for the Merlinomicon build on Victor.
It's one of those things, he went for the Hexcore Mark II already, which is one of those things that people are still figuring out Victor builds. And I feel like once you have your Q on a low enough cooldown, once you're around level 13, then it's okay to drop that 1,000 gold into it. Otherwise, I think it's better to actually just start getting a damage item that's going to give you CDR too, because then that would lower the cooldown of the Q. Then it justifies having that for the movement speed later. Yeah, well, his Q right now on a 6-second cooldown, thanks to his 13.75 CDR. The Phoenix Codex, of course, being part of that, Masteries being the other bit. LuigiG right now just playing the mid lane wave clear duty alongside Kyle's Victor, and TDK just buying time. I think this team really has to play around Seraph right now. Despite being 0-1-0, that Triforce should allow him to make some good plays. Especially with Rux going Merc Treads there. MR will mean a little bit against Equilibrium Strike, as will the Tenacity, but I have to see how much it really affects this fight. Seraph, I think, can really put some pressure on the map now. And he's just going to try to freeze these lanes, make sure that he can hold them.
I actually like that.
As long as possible. Don't shove them out. Unless you're going to make a play, right?
Here's the thing. Yeah, Final 5 Siege isn't very strong. They, like, Graves is short-ranged, Oriana's immobile. You have to be so afraid of Sejuani and Victor that sitting still in front of a turret is a really dangerous situation. So, look, the first 2 turrets went down. Good job, Final 5, but what else are you really going to get? Maybe the next Dragon in a minute. You're seeing Sheep play for Ward Control to do that.
It's funneled farm.
Maybe a red buff steal. Yeah, exactly. It's funneled farm.
And Rux gets to push the mid lane. He doesn't have to go top. He doesn't have to force the issue. Seraph, though, caught out a little bit.
Wants to show mid, kicked around, rooted up as well. And this team fight for the mid lane, not going to happen at all. Mid lane outer, maybe going to be easily picked up, but LuigiG wave clears while they kill off Seraph. I'm not sure why he went there. You have teleport. You have a perfectly good wave to farm.
He doesn't want to use that teleport. He wants to just walk
What are you going to use it for?
But it's one of those things where that was like a flank play that he was looking for. Because otherwise you would have gone by wolves and down and come through the middle of the lane. He was looking to try and make a play onto the backside, but Impaler read that, saw it coming.
He's freezing the wave. They can see him move over. They dive on in. Shockwave will miss. Rux not going to get anything for it. Gravity Well gets a 2-man stun. Oh god, Final 5 lose 2 out of the map, but Smoothie gets re-engaged upon 2 for 2. Overall, his couple members are dead. If you want to count the kill on a Seraph after all, and he finally shows back up with the teleport, knocks down Veritas. TDK turning it back onto the mid game just like last time.
And Dragon is almost up. It's got 8 seconds on it here. And what was really big there is the Shockwave missed. Gate hit nobody. Gate's the person who has a lot of the gold of this team. The CS is funneled into him. And now TDK, they get to apply pressure to this turret. They get to get this Dragon. And they get a foothold in this game. Sheep and Impaler, it'd be really hard to engage. And looks like they're just going to get this turret.
Wow, look at that one. Sheep in the wrong spot. Went too YOLO. His team is dead. Why are you defending the turret with Impaler? It's not going to work. Heavy overstepping by Final 5. Throwing away a bunch of kills and giving control right back now to TDK.
I watched this game yesterday where they were up 3K. Look at that. Missed Shockwave. They walk back into the Victor gravity field, and they pick up 2 key members there. Veritas doing what he can to try and counter these kills, and then Kez and Seraph is back. Then now his TP comes into play. He's able to flank from the side. Really, it was a 4-on-5, and the whiffed Oriana ultimate, and the fact that Gate went so far up to do it instead of putting the E onto Rux, who was diving, was a big misplay there by the team.
Well, the thing is, I think they expected the Leona stun to land, which is why they engaged. Like, Gate queued expecting Victor to be stunned or something. Wasn't the case at all. Shockwave misses. Everything went badly from there, but rough stuff now. Final 5. Thing is, they can't be discouraged here. Okay, they're down a kill, but guess what? It's 2 dragons to 1. They're winning by that margin. They're up 1,000 gold because of the 2 extra turret kills they have. Final 5 should know they are still ahead in this game. As long as they don't make any major mistakes, they still have the way.
It's always really strange, too, when you have more turrets than the enemy, but the gold is really close. It's actually a terrible situation for the team that has the
turret kills?
The turret kills, because you have to play further up.
That's true. Yeah, you're closer to the enemy base with their rotations, their recalls are easier and faster.
You have to be a very good team to start executing on that and being like, all right, now we're just going to play the pressure game and do rotations ahead of them. You have to like execute them even cleaner, even faster than just the map advantage and distance. Sure. Like the 2 points for TDK. So they have to ward up the deeper in their jungle. They have to see these things coming. And then they have to siege, which isn't like, it's much easier said than done, right? They have a Victor.
Yeah.
Their wave clear is okay, and Seraph is pretty much going to be just split pushing the entire time. So shoving out those waves is going to be hard.
Well, shoving out top wave, not hard at all. LuiGG pops a Q, pops an ulti, knocks down that turret. Looks like Static Shiv is next for him. A nice high damage build. Is actually getting ahead of Veritas in this one, who's having a hard time.
Ooh.
Seraph lands a stun. This is so bad for Veritas, but Seraph doesn't want to stay with Rux coming into the picture.
Yeah,
Seraph chases down.
Seraph didn't actually get the reset off of the minion on his Q.
Oh.
Didn't kill it. Lived with like 10 HP. Oh, Kyle.
Big shockwave, big ulti comes in. They get the kill picked up. Gravity Well onto Sheep, but he's a tanky Leona. All the same, LuiGG gets the kill. The kickback. Kez 1 for 1, but support from mid laner ain't bad. And bot lane outer nearly falling. All said and done.
But TDK still able to keep up the defense. The goal is actually getting even closer, just slightly. Kyle picked up Gate in the right position that time, able to get the appropriate shockwave. And this turret, it just lived with a little bit of HP.
You knew it was going down. So good job, Final Five. Get that one in, and they get a little bit more gold for themselves. Tank items will be coming in before too long. Rux, though, delaying Frozen Heart to buy some more health, interestingly enough. Health, of course, a very important stat. I can't be too sad about that. See what else he's able to pick up for himself, but Seraph continuing to scale up. Trinity Force should be able to pick up more items in the near future as Ninja Tabby came in. And now some more health to be a big, nice, friendly, or unfriendly tank.
Try to be a little more unfriendly.
Generally speaking.
The flanking Aurelia. He does have the upgraded green trinket. Hopefully he starts split pushing because that's what he needs to do on that Aurelia. And actually applying pressure and having the wards up and trying to deal with Rux. Like Rux right now is actually not extremely powerful.
Oh no, he's very weak. I think Seraph is an easy fight.
Seraph has passed him in power spike.
Absolutely. Seraph was held down in a lane swap, but he's now at 171 CS. His mid game has been so much better farmed than Rux's. You're seeing Kez with his Sightstone trying to put aggressive wards down. So Smoothie, Kez, and Seraph can repeatedly put down 3 wards on the map permanently, provide a lot of vision for the team, not to mention the wards that actually Kyle's buying right now, 2 in his inventory as well. Of course, you expect similar for Final Five, but guess what? Ulti for the slow, Q on in, quick bit of burst. LuiGG will get the kill. Kez got aggro, all said and done. And that is going to be a very easy fight for TDK. And they are now within 300 gold. Bottom outer is gone. They finally cracked that outer turret shell. And actually mid tier 2 could fall, or sorry, bot tier 2 could fall quickly as well.
Impaler's trying to look around for the side flank. You do also have Sheep here, but LuiGG, he's going to have to get out. LuiGG is actually having a really good game. This is one of the better games, probably one of the best games that we've seen him play. Because he's constantly been a weak point on this lineup where you look for Seraph, you look for Kez or Kyle to carry the game. Smoothie and LuiGG don't usually seem to be stars or standouts, but this game they're definitely making a case for it.
You see Seraph just pushing around Rux, trying to get Trinity Force box with the R, land a couple autos when it's relevant, and that's been pretty strong here. Rux forced to get out. Seraph can happily burn his Q for a chase. He knows he's not really going to be in really any danger at all.
It's the maxed Eve and maxed W there.
Yeah, pretty standard stuff.
Very standard. But the fact that he's also very used to that damage from his Q and how he can kill things. He did kind of misjudged it earlier. But right now, it's all about that split push. The fact that he's trying to get those deeper wards so that he can see people coming to him. I'm actually very surprised that he's not continuing to split push. He must have an item break point. No.
It's just Giant Spell. I think he wants to walk the Dragon. He doesn't want to have to burn Teleport just for the Dragon attempt. He's going to do it to flank now.
There's the TP.
In Final 5, they have to know this is coming right now. They're like, oh crap, we're flanked. Kez starts the fight out. Has to flash out though. Rux will engage, but here comes the counter. Gravity Well, Annie stun comes in. Now where's the AoE? It's coming in right now. Leona's gone. Shockwave maybe to turn it around. 2 for 1 so far, but Louis GG going for the cleanup. Gets Rux. Veritas now in a duel. Who's going to win this battle? The Korean AD carries, and Veritas coming out ahead with the Phantom Dancer build, but Kyle finally cleans one up. Impaler now versus Kyle.
Mano y mano.
Robot versus Blind Monk. Impaler tries to get it, and he does. And that's going to be a nice, serene Dragon kill for him.
No flashes.
What? He couldn't Q? He had energy, I thought.
No, to it? No.
There we go. I think he wins this fight.
He has it up. Oh, we don't even get to see it. Whiffed ulti there from Kez. I heard it because we were watching Seraph, but I wasn't 100% sure, but it hit nobody. And then the Annie, Smoothie, really saving his team's tail in that fight. Now they're on full retreat on Final 5 side. Rux just trying to do zone control, keep him away from the carries while Veritas deals damage. But right there, for a couple of seconds, Veritas was not able to output damage. If he had been positioned a little bit further forward, he may have been able to take out Louis GG earlier, but crit, buckshot, crit.
Wow.
Yeah, that was Crit City right there.
That's why you buy Phantom Dancer.
Yep.
You are more likely to crit than not crit with that build. You can't complain luck at that point. Sometimes it works that way. Like, that's the disparity in builds. You get a lot of lightning, you get guaranteed damage. You get a Phantom Dancer, you are likely to get those crit streaks.
Oh, speaking of likely.
Yeah.
Likely to hit it.
Likely to hit that one. Bam! Kyle explodes the poor guy. Veritas, 3, 4, and 3. Not a scoreline you expect for an AD carry, but he keeps getting founded in these fights.
Really far up there, alone, as an AD carry. Yeah. That was a frontline AD carry play.
Well, now here's Sarah fighting Sheep. Rux in the mix. Impaler cues Baron to make it angry. Kez has to stop following.
Veritas.
Now here's what's interesting, actually. I want to contrast Kyle and Gate, because Gate has repeatedly outlaned Kyle. He's now up 71 minion kills, routinely out farming. But Kyle keeps having better team fights, resulting in their gold being almost identical. They're 700 apart, not a really big change there. Gate with a small lead, actually. But they're still being like really high impact mid laners.
Yeah, they're both doing an extraordinary job this game, and they're both linchpins of the strategies. They're both the highest damage output people on their team, save for possibly 80 carries with good positioning. But they are a lot of what happens and what changes the flow of a fight right in the middle of it.
And one thing happening here is Veritas is going for Last Whisper. And he used to be a big fan of the item, getting that item third. But he's under so much fire, I think he needs Bloodthirster just to survive and keep his damage output up throughout a fight. Being able to play cleanup.
And Louis GG already has that item. The 4, 1, and 6, 34 CS up over Veritas.
That's the risk. Louis GG, of course, actually able to get a lot of fights now and successful team fights, a lot of gold coming in. And you're seeing this game actually almost identical to last game, where Final 5 got ahead early. Impaler did some cool things early on. Everyone was kind of holding up. Gate did amazing in the mid lane. But TDK, over and over and over and over again, winning in team fights. And it's not like these guys have to stop team fighting. They've got the split push lead as well with Seraph.
Yeah, they have a lot of options. Right now they control the map. They have all these pink wards down. They have a lot of control over the east side of the map. Final 5, though, they're carrying tons of pink wards. They're ready to wrestle control back, and the game is probably going to take a little bit of a swing here in terms of vision very shortly.
So we'll see who gets the control.
Final
Baron. 5 wants it to be them. Yeah, and they want it to be Baron here. First pink ward goes down, gets rid of some of the wards here. And I like how he puts it far away from the wall to help cover more of the brush. Aggressive green there. He's going to watch some of the rotations. No sweepers are up here. Only 3 sweepers is the price you pay for using an upgraded ward drop over your top lane. You get 1 less sweeper. Less chance of clearing waves away, Louis GG.
Space Invaders.
Hey man, he hit all of those. It's a good play. Bam.
Now they get to bait it. They get to bait the Baron. You can see Seraph is already here. He walked here. He didn't care about Rux because he doesn't have his TP up just yet, and Rux does.
But Kez able to actually brazenly walk in. Seraph the same, just trying to knock down these. Wow, yeah, the Lee Sin Q somehow missed. Seraph takes a big burst and goes down. Gate gets it, still has Shockwave, and TDK have to be afraid of this one. Impaler really wants in, but has to still respect Victor's damage. He's got the fully upgraded Chaos Storm now. Mid lane under fire, final 5. Will they go for mid tier 2 or they go for Baron?
Right now, it just looks like they shove up the wave, see what they can get. This is a very clearable wave, though, by a Victor.
Yeah.
Kyle's just going to shoot up this wave and clear it all. There's no reason to be here. You're not going to get anything for it.
Well, they're going to clear one more wave and help make sure there's no counter push mid available. 15 seconds on Seraph, but he has teleport. He could probably buy a home guard. In fact, no, he cannot. But all that's because he bought a Null Magic Mantle. He could sell it for home guard.
You'd have to go in like right now and get the ultimate on.
All right, they're going to try. Rux pops the haste buff. Smoothie in the back line. 2-man stun. A little bit of damage onto Sheep, but is that really the target you want? Orianna might be, though. Shields himself. Goes in for the Q. No Shockwave. Just actually, no, it's down and take it back. A 2 for 0 from Kyle. Now, Veritas chased out by Seraph. Distortion provides a little bit of kiting, but not nearly enough. Veritas forced to run away. A 2 for 0.
Too late on the engage there. And Sheep, he didn't have his Solar Flare up just yet. He used it for the pickoff right before that fight when they took out Seraph. And now they lose their tier 2.
Yeah, like a 1 for 0 is not going to give you a whole lot of control, especially when it's not a wave clearer like Aurelia, but a 2 for 0 is going to give you that pressure. Like Orianna, no Shockwave, easy turret kill.
And it's one of those things where you should just go to Baron, and if they walk up to Baron, you maybe get another kill on top of it. Or they forfeit it, they cede it to you because you have the vision control of that area. You still have pink wards in your inventory too. You can keep contesting that area. You had all that time to do so. Yeah. Going up against a wave clear mid like Victor, as soon as it crashes against the turret, you're able to handle it. And they backed off. Like Rux places Righteous Glory and tries to get in range to get his W and then ulti with Gate. Like, it was a very telegraphed play of what they were trying to accomplish, but it was like trying to punch through a brick wall. But
they're going to punch through Louis GG, though. No way he gets out. Kill picked up by Rux. And maybe the Baron attempt happens here now. Kez takes a bit of poke. Shockwave comes in. Kez has flash, uses it. But now it's an unescaping Sejuani. Baron is going to be started. Final 5. They tried Baron last time, and TDK got a turnaround for it, but missing their AD carry, it's going to be a bit of a risk. They're going to go for Dragon. They will give up Baron. And Final 5 finally find something to go well for them.
That's a good Baron call. You pick one person off, you go do it. You have the vision control. Like, TDK have not had a ward on Baron for the last 5 minutes because he's just been controlled by Final 5. And now they finally pulled the trigger on it. It's a little late, but it's still them picking up the Baron. Very, very close game here between these two teams. Both teams want this so desperately because you want to get out of that middle of the pack, right?
Yep. Well, we'll see what happens as the game continues to unfold. 1,400 gold separates these teams. TDK on 2, Dragons Final 5 on 3, and a Baron buff. Mid lane should be easy. They could just straight take mid right now, but they don't know that Kyle's still recalling. There's no way mid could be defended. Final 5 finally realize it. Their calls just seem so messy that they nearly gave up that control. If the melee minions were not still Baron buff, they would have been waved through by Louis GG in an instant.
Yeah, and Veritas staying next to the wave definitely helped them out there.
Yeah.
If he had walked away for a second, like you said, would have been completely...
No, that turret would not have died if Veritas weren't there. So heads up play by Veritas made the mid go down. Now top lane
5v5.
With Baron buff though, mid tier 2s are hard to tier 2 turrets are hard to defend against Baron. I feel like you generally lose them, but if you can buy time, you can wear out the Baron buff. It only lasts 3 minutes, only 1.5 now. There are 3 waves left with Baron buff if Final 5 want to stay for this. But bottom lane's pushing a gigantic wave about to reach their own turret.
That's true. Clearing this mini wave out, making sure that it doesn't reach the turret and catching it right before by Seraph and Kez.
Send Rux. He's got teleport. Out he goes. They know he's left, but they assume he's got teleport. TDK still can't play too greedily. The rest of the team does recall in Fog.
They left 3 members still up here in the top.
Well, Sheep has home guard. He can get there pretty fast with Mobies.
Oh, they're going to run right up. They're going to try to clear this wave as fast as possible for damage.
Seraph going to take a little bit of damage, actually. Pretty good poke down by Veritas. And okay, this is a bit risky. Sheep's gone for a while.
5 on 3.
They can TP and Rux. Okay, they get it down to half.
But they have to back up.
And Rux got a whole bunch of farm, though. He's catching up. Frozen Heart's done for him. Spectre's Cowl's in there. So Visage isn't far. It'll be a max CDR build for Rux when he finishes that item.
And now he gets to be the split push threat. He gets to reapply pressure to this bottom lane and relieve the pressure of having it against his turret.
No, he doesn't stay. Final 5, they want to use this time not to keep pushing with Baron buff, as it does time out very soon here.
Yeah.
In the next 15 seconds. They had one last wave to push it with, but instead they say no. Get your last recalls in, finish your items. Zhonya's here for Gate. Thornmail comes in from Rux. Quicksilver Sash also is actually a pretty big deal for Veritas, and Final 5 say, okay, we got to cash in right on the breakpoints. Let's go.
Dragon's not up for a little bit. It's now about establishing ward control and keeping it for the next 3.5 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, it's 3 minutes right now, considering that the Dragon died around the same time as Baron, and Baron just timed out. Seraph gets to outplay the ulti. Kez comes in. 3-man stun. Battle has begun, but are they too tanky? Gate gets stunned. Chased down. Gets almost one-shot, but pops Zoni's in time. Still likely to die. Does so. Kyle takes the kill. Rux, not tanky enough. Goes 2-3 for 0. Veritas makes it 4. This could be the game for TDK.
They just caught the highest gold member out from Final 5 and melted him. Now they get to run up naked inhibitor in the mid lane, and they get all this pressure. 30 seconds on the death timers.
This could absolutely be the 2-0 for TDK. It'll just be absolutely amazing for them if they can do this. They'll own the tiebreaker over Final 5 if it comes to that in the end of the postseason here. And here we go. Turret number 1, turret number 2. That will be game. Good killer instinct, and TDK take the 2-0 over Final 5. Both of them comebacks.
That Sejuani ultimate on the positioning, and Smoothie with the catch out there on Gate. Didn't even get to Zonius till he was about dead. Didn't even get to Flash. Immediate capitalization there on the mispositioning, and I talked about it halfway through the game. Both these teams prey on small mispositionings, whether it's the Sejuani ulti or the Orianna ulti. You have to be cognizant of where everybody is on your team when you're playing as that comp and against that comp.
So absolutely great play by TDK. The Sarah split push started the game 0-2, ended 1-4-9. Kyle bullied so hard in mid lane. His mid laner was level 2 off of the melee set of the wave. 9-3-7 on Victor. The team fight comp worked really, really well. Final 5, you thought they had the chance to get back into this game. They used Baron to farm up, get the item break points, then set up for Dragon. Problem was, they hadn't set up wards yet for Dragon. So as they limped in to get control, TDK knew they were just as powerful, got the picks, got the engages, worked so darn well. Now that TDK win means CLB, along with TSM Darkness, I believe, are eliminated from the playoffs.
Yeah, all playoff spots have been decided, but seeding is still to be determined. Enemies number 1 right now at 6-1, and then TDK and Fusion are both 5-3, and then Final 5 is 4-4. So those are the 4 teams in playoffs, and now they're just fighting each other for seeding.
And we'll see what happens with this one. Overall, though, very interesting game. I gotta say, I'm happy with how TDK is shaping up. They started this season with a 0-2 under Enemy Esports, and we're like, TDK, are they one of those teams that's lucky to get in, that, you know, maybe got an easy bracket for themselves in the qualifier? Are they going to be the joke? Are they going to be one of the joke teams? Turns out not the case. Their only losses have been to a 1-1 against fellow second-place Team Fusion. Again, that 0-2 under Enemy Esports, but they have knocked down every other team. 2-0 Final 5, 2-0 TSM Darkness. They're going to play CLG Black then in the last week there, and you figure that might be another 2-0 week for TDK. This team could look very amazing in the postseason. I think they're poised to be the second seed.
Yeah, like you said, they've had that inverse schedule where they had the hardest teams first, and then they just kind of trickled down towards the teams that are near the bottom of the standings. So their schedule has kind of been against them, but they've stuck together through it, which I think is absolutely huge for them.
Yeah, so TDK looking very good. Now, guys, joining us to talk about that victory on the Rift is TDK's support, Smoothie. So, by the way, you secured a spot in the playoffs, man. Congrats for that. How's it feel?
Pretty good, man. It's been a long road, man. It feels so good. So much pressure relieved.
So, of course, you're going to be playing for seeding overall. Your final fight is going to be against CLG Black next week. How important is that for making it a 2-0?
I mean, I don't think it's that important because we already got in playoffs, but it'd be nice if we did get it. Yeah.
And
just whatever, basically. All right, fine.
Yeah. Out of the 4 playoff teams, which one do you not want to face the most? And
Enemy,
why?
by far.
Yeah.
They're just really strong overall, and trashy is scary. Yeah.
Trashy, scary. Great,
You
great
pick on
analysis.
your lane.
Yeah. Well, if you come into that, like, if you're feeling confident, you guys are looking good, you just 2-0'd Final 5, 1-1 against Fusion. It seems like you have a pretty good track record against the other teams. That maybe impending enemy TDK final, what's going to give you the edge to actually knock them down and reverse that 2-0?
I think that like they probably underestimated us because for the first first weeks of NACS, we were really new. I was like just getting into the team. Like before it was Kwan and like of course he spoke Korean too. So I don't speak Korean, so it was really hard for me to communicate with the team. But now that I understand like how the team works, it's a lot easier for me.
So are you just playing basically on instinct? Like, does Kez give you any insight, or are you just like, well, they're going in, so I'll press R?
Kez and Seraph really do help with the translating. But basically in bot lane, it's really just solo queue-esque type play.
What have you learned recently as a player playing in Challenger? Because you said you were fairly new to all of this. What's the biggest improvement you've seen for your own personal play throughout these weeks?
The past few weeks in the NACS, I've learned more than I could have ever asked for. Like I went from probably high master to like mid to high challenger level play, and it's like the wording really helped. I didn't know how to word it first, to be honest. Kez really helped me on that, and yeah, it just really helped to be in a good team atmosphere, and yeah, helped.
All right.
And solo queue a lot.
Well, that's good to hear, man, and I've been really enjoying watching you grow and your team really improve overall. So, Smoothie, thank you very much for the time, and good luck in your match next week and the postseason as well.
Thank you.
All right, well, we're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, it's time for our final fight of the night. TSM Darkness goes up against Enemy Esports, so don't touch that browser. You don't want to miss it. Ignite is on. Cow does not cleanse it, meaning the damage comes out. There's the flash and cleanse. The Q hits! And Paler gets first blood. He's going to be safe. Shockwave will miss. Ruck's not going to get anything for it. Gravity Well gets a two-man stun. Oh god, Final 5 lose 2 out of the bat, but Smoothie gets re-engaged upon 2 for 2. But Louis GG going for the cleanup. Gets Rugs. Veritas now in a duel. Who's going to win this battle? The Korean 80 carries. And it's Veritas coming out ahead with the Phantom Dancer build. Kyle takes the kill. Rux not tanky enough. Goes 2-3 for 0. Veritas makes it 4. This could be the game for TDK.